How's it going, guys? I am Matthias, and it's Sunday, which means I'm going to be reading your comments. Today, I'm reading from the question, what is the craziest thing that happened to you on vacation? Let me just say, there's some really crazy and wacky things. And remember to stay to the very end to hear my craziest story about what happened to me on vacation, because it's wacky. But before we begin that, a question of the day for a future episode is, what is the craziest thing that has ever happened to you that no one believes? As in, it happened to you, you know it happened to you, but no one believes that it happened to you. Put that down in the comments below and we will read it for your enjoyment in a future episode. I went camping at a Christian music festival with my family. My old sister... Yeah, my iPad rings. How am I gonna answer it on my iPad? Hello? It just hung up on me. I went camping at a Christian music festival with my family. My older sister was trying to convince me she was an alien. I went to run out of the tent and tripped on the flap and fell face first on the ground. I was 5, so needless to say, I was screaming bloody murder. Meanwhile, VeggieTales music was playing in the background. I think this was on vacation, but there was a mattress place where they had mattresses, and then one day it was on fire. I had to be inside for a few days because I couldn't go outside. Evidently the sale was hot. Am I right? Hashtag dad joke. My craziest vacation story. Wait, I've never been on vacation. Crazy vacation, I went to a beach in Long Island. I was eating my sandwich and out of nowhere, a seagull came and swooped down and took my sandwich. I was sad because I was hungry, stupid bird. Give this video a like if you've ever had a bird take something of yours or just wreck or just mess with you. Birds just mess with people so much, am I right? Like it. I went on holiday and the cleaners tried to kidnap me. They tickled my feet to see if I was awake. What? What is even, huh? I haven't ever been on vacation. I like this if you cry every time. I got locked in a bathroom in Prague for an hour and I don't speak Czech. And the lady didn't speak English. I was in Florida and I jumped off a diving board and I tripped and my pants fell off. Long story short, I can never go there again for public nudity. You accidentally displayed yourself and they're like, get out of here, we don't want you again. No accidents here. Where are my shorts? Get out of the pool, you're banned. You're never allowed to come back here again, you pervert. Yeah, what a pervert, boo. This guy's a sicko. Where are my shorts? Who has my shorts? My family and I went on vacation to Florida. We ended up in Canada. I don't know if this counts as vacation, but I went to the pool with my friend. We were leaving at 8 p.m., but the parents were still cleaning up, so we decided to play hide and seek in the dark. Long story short, I couldn't find a good hiding place, so I decided to hide outside the building. I sprinted towards the door. Turns out it was actually a window right next to the door. So did you like just go straight through it, or did you just smack your face up against it? A long time ago, I was at a restaurant and I was just playing around with my uncle and I was watching a TV show and I heard him walk away. I made a mistake by not seeing where he went because I saw him on his phone, and me being childish, I looked at his phone and noticed he was texting someone in a different language. I looked at him and it was just some random guy. I tried getting out of the restaurant as quickly as possible. 10 years old, hiding from the police. Mexico. When I was on vacation 2 years ago, I fed some seagulls. The next day, around the same time I fed them before, we had a seagull knocking on our door. This happened every day. Seagulls, they know when they get it, they can get it again. Man, pesky little dudes. I went to Disney World and the birds started attacking me. Oh my gosh, again with the birds. My car was broken into, nothing stolen except my DS card with 100 games. In Florida, I was swimming for a few hours in the ocean. I was one of the kids who drank the water by accident a lot. And so after we were done swimming, I took a shower, got in bed, and threw up because of all the salt water. I woke up in my hotel screaming, ah, where am I? Then 5 minutes later, I realized I was just on holiday. Was visiting my sister in Houston and we were driving somewhere. We stopped in front of a light and there was a huge car crash. One of the cars ran off while the other sputtered into a parking lot. Whoa, not cool. If you get in a car crash, you gotta like pull over, you know, give me your information, you know, be a good citizen. I guess if you're just a criminal, you do whatever you want. When I was about 8, my family was vacationing at the beach. My grandfather took me to the shore and apparently he didn't stop to realize that I'd only had on underwear. I went to the store in my underwear. The craziest thing that happened to me on vacation, well, this is more painful, but I got a double ear infection a day after going to the beach. It took a whole month for it to heal, and it's crazy because once I got home, I was completely fine. We were flying to Greece and the plane broke in the air, so we landed to some country and we had to wait for 6 hours. We got a $50 gift card because we literally sat in the plane for 10 hours and they didn't let us leave from the plane, so we sat in the plane for 10 hours. I think he said that. Well, me and my family went to Wales once. There was a nest of wasps in the bush outside and I went out with a Coke. I was about 8, so I was terrified of wasps. A load of wasps came out around, so I ran inside. Then I went back inside and I had about 3 drowned wasps in my drink. My biggest regret was cutting my hand with anger. Huh? A swan bit my finger and then I fell in the river. Oh, I thought I was gonna read it and then it fell off. But still, falling in the river, that's pretty funny. I mean, sad, I'm sorry. The craziest thing that happened to me on vacation was the last time I went to Nevada with my family. My sister, mom, and I got sick/gassy. We went bowling to the movies and a few other things, the whole time feeling like poo and farting a bunch. The best part was when we were at the movies and a bunch of people were slowly moving away as we stunk up the whole place. During the time, I was really embarrassed, but now I look back on it and it was very funny. Oh, I'm out of here. Is someone farting? I'm gonna die. It wasn't me. I think I'm gonna faint. We almost fell off the Grand Canyon. Didn't end well. We went to Universal Studios and one of the park workers dressed up as the Green Goblin came into the Spider-Man gift shop and started punching all the life-size Spider-Man figures in the face. Then he yelled at some customers and walked outside to challenge Captain America to a rap battle. When I went on a vacation to Egypt with my family, I got really sick and ended up in the hospital twice. I was throwing up a lot. The funniest thing was when my stomach calmed down overnight and I asked them for some food the next day. They got me fries and chicken. Not exactly what I would expect after a day spent in the hospital, but an interesting experience indeed. One time I was vacationing at Florida. While my dad was in the grocery store and my family and I were sitting in the car, I was farting like crazy. Then I just straight up pooped my pants. What? Oh man, you gotta have more control over your bowels. We got a house by the lake and my mother was mad at me and pushed my overboard and I nearly died by an alligator. That's not funny. I died. No, I don't think so. I was in Florida and I had not yet discovered I was allergic to milk. So I was about to vomit, but then I went in the toilet. I then flushed it and it flooded the whole bathroom. Apparently it was due to something in the drains, sewer pipes. I was so embarrassed though. I went to San Antonio for a couple of days. In the hotel, there were fruit baskets, so I took a banana and put it in my backpack, which I used as a suitcase. But then after a few weeks, I was in school and everyone started to smell the rotting banana I had left in there. They also used gloves to get rid of it. When I went on a road trip, there was a deer in the road, dead. So we passed it and then we came back and the deer was alive! I was with my family in Virginia for vacation. We went to a Dave & Buster's arcade. I put my hand on someone who looked like my dad. My dad then walked by, saw me with my hand on another man's shoulder. I once did that. I didn't know where my dad was and I wasn't paying attention and I just looked around and grabbed the nearest man's hand. I was like 10. It's pretty embarrassing though, because my dad was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Because he watched the whole thing. Every time we are leaving for a vacation, we have to go back home because we always forget something. I think that's true to any family ever. I went to my uncle's wedding and my brother needed to go change out of his bathing suit. He got to the room, but the wrong room. He started pounding on the windows and he was stuck in a stranger's room naked, waiting for us to find the mystery room. Once, when my family and I went to Mackinac at 3 in the morning, some drunk guy pulled the fire alarm. Well, we had to wait for our car for a long time for the police to search the building. My crazy vacation experience was when I was 7. I went to Wyoming and me and my dad got attacked by a bear. I have a scar on my face, chunks of skin missing, and I lost my left arm. I hope that's not true. I hope you're messing with me. I hope that isn't true. Rented a house on a gorgeous Florida beach, so when we went to the other side, I was a little shocked to see this really gross part of the ocean, and then there was a sign saying, "Beware of gators." My mom said it was just a precaution, so we went kayaking. Let's just say my paddle hit an alligator's head, and the gator boys had to come and rescue us because the gator wouldn't let go of the paddle. What? Beware of gators, people. They're pretty dangerous. One time I was on vacation with my cousins. We were playing a game when I really had to pee. Suddenly, one of my cousins said a joke that made me laugh so hard to the point where I started peeing. I yelled, "I'm peeing! Seriously!" I was hoping this would be forgotten, but every time I see them. When I was on a cruise ship, my friend and I were waiting for this girl named Sadie. They told me to go look for her and I could not find her, so we went back to see my friend, but I went to the wrong floor and searched for her for an hour, only to realize she was on the 14th floor, not the 11th. I was in SeaWorld, I was feeding a dolphin and it bit my finger. I was like 7 years old, I don't like dolphins anymore. This is like a mix of Jacksepticeye's reading your comments and Jack's Films Yai. Just saying. Exactly. It is literally exactly that. Thank you for noticing. That makes me feel so good. I like merged them and I felt so proud of what I came up with. I went to London with my dad and it turned out that the hotel room we were staying in had no windows and it was in the basement. This happened 2 weeks ago. Worst 4 nights of my life. You stayed there 4 nights? I would have been like, yeah, I'm out of here. This is cliche, but it happened. My parents went out of our hotel room to go find my sister. We were vacationing together. My sister is 15 years older than me. I went to go put our food outside of the room. I locked myself out. Worst part about it, I was in my undies. When the people walked by, they gave me the creepiest stare. Scarred me for life. I didn't have Wi-Fi. That would have been a terrible vacation. A seagull ate my toes. Seagull ate my toes. Those darn seagulls, I'm telling you guys, I'm telling you. Even my story at the end has seagulls. Matthias, is there something wrong with me? I rarely laugh at your videos. Well, you know, my videos aren't for everyone. I went on vacation to Edmonton, Canada with my friends, and when I was there, I went to confess to my friend I liked him. Long story short, I told him and he ended up kissing me. Best moment of my life. I was staying at a hotel with a pool. My mom is afraid of heights, so naturally I leaned over the balcony bar. I leaned a bit too far. I fell over. Luckily, I fell into the deep end of the pool. Also, I'm lucky it was just off the 3rd floor. Long story short, worst belly flop ever. Dude, 3rd floor, luckily? Yikes, dude. This August, we went to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, and on our last day, we went to a place called Yalepa. We went to the beach, and this guy came over and put an iguana in my arms and said, "I charge you for a picture." Also, the iguana's name was Pepe. Pepe Le Pew. I was cooking at my grandmother's house, and I dropped a knife, and I had an open-toed shoes on. My foot caught it like a boss. I went on vacation to Hawaii with my family. When we went to the beach, I saw a shark in the distance. We warned everyone to get out. One person refused to get out, so we didn't think of it. The next day, we heard a shark attack on the same beach, and I'm 99% sure it was the same guy. When I was in Yosemite National Park, I had climbed down a mountain with my mom. We thought it was going to be easy since it was only 4 miles, but here's the thing, it was very steep. We ended up getting stuck on the mountain for like 4 or 5 hours. I'm 13 years old, and a few months back, I went on vacation. Me being the stupid and curious boy I am, I wanted to know what the black plate was in the kitchen and why it had a red thing on it. 5 seconds later, my mom almost had a heart attack because I put both hands on the electric furnace and burned them. The craziest thing that happened on vacation was my grandfather fell down the escalator. Me getting sick when I see blood, I threw up. So not only did your grandfather just probably really injure himself bad, then you threw up on top of him. Just a great day for your granddad, man. All right, it is time for my weird story when I was on vacation. But before I tell you, consider subscribing so I don't just embarrass myself for no reason at all. All right, so my crazy story was when we were all at the beach. My entire family was at the beach and my sister was just laying there and a $20 bill flew out of nowhere and just stuck to her face. What the heck? $20 just out of nowhere. And at the age we were at, it was hard to come by $20. So I was super jealous. I was like, come on, you gotta share it. You gotta share that money. She was like, nope, I don't think so. And my dad was like, well, she found it, finders keepers. And I was like, oh, so annoying. 10 minutes later, another $20 bill smacks her in the face. And she's like, this is the best day ever. And I was so frustrated. I remember getting so mad and I was like, I wish something would come out of the air and hit me. Well, I got my wish. Although it was bird poop. Remember, the question of the day for a future episode is, what is the craziest thing that ever happened to you that no one believes happened to you? All right, guys, if you enjoyed this episode, consider watching the previous ROIC or the next one, and we'll see you next time. High five.